right, Grand Rising, good day. Welcome to all of you. You were tuned into the Peak Wellness Hour. We apologize for that brief technical difficulty at the beginning, but we are here in the digital building and we want to welcome you to this ongoing conversation about building healthy, strong foundations, which is what we're talking about today: values and boundaries, protecting what you are building. So, as I said, we've talked about this before. We've been talking about this month, the month of January. And you have to understand that once we begin to rewrite our inner narrative, the next question becomes, what will I allow or not allow? What will I accept? And what will I protect in my life? Beliefs shape values, and values must be guarded by boundaries. And that is what we're talking about here today. So I want you all to stay tuned, grab a pen and paper. We're going to dive into this conversation. I tell you what, we are having technical difficulties. We're going to play the intro, but it's okay. We're not going to delay any time. I don't know what's going on, but it's okay. We'll skip the intro and we'll get into this conversation. We're excited to have this conversation with you because we're moving out of January, and as we dive into different topics and conversations throughout the year, we want this to be a foundational start for the rest of your year and the rest of your life. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You all know we're going to bring Queen Edith in, Lady Reverend Edith Armatifio. I love that. I saw that the other day. I love that. I love it. Lady Reverend. I love it. Grand Rising, King Shine. And same to you, Queen Kathy. Queen Kathy B is on holiday. I'm so excited for her. And she's tuning in even though she is away. So thank you so much. Really quickly before
Queen Kathy, why didn't you take me along?
That's what I said. That is what I said. So before we have Queen Edith bring us in, like she does, I wanted to share something with you all. And I was thinking about this. I don't know if you all watch vampire shows or movies. I know the first one that I ever watched, I was a teenager, and it was Interview with the Vampire. That is my favorite vampire movie. And I'm not a horror person, or I don't like scary movies and things like that. I think it was Brad Pitt starring in Interview with the Vampire. And mind you, I was like 15, 16. And I thought it was a cool movie. If you all know some other movies or shows that involve vampires, throw them out there because I want to show you all something. I did like, I've never seen the Vampire Diaries, but I did like the originals. Just a few things. So I'm bringing this up for a reason. Like I said, I'm not a big horror flick person, but vampires, unlike other monster kind of characters, actually have a representation. And it's going to tie into what we're talking about today. Because a lot of us don't realize that when we're not setting boundaries, we're allowing vampires into our lives that are sucking our energy and our very life. Okay, so I want to share this with you guys really quick before we get into this because we're going to dive deeper. So I just wanted to get into this really quickly. So it says, as a folklore, the symbolic representation of a vampire needing to be invited in. If you all don't know that, with vampires, you have to be invited in to a situation. Did you all see what's the new one with Michael B. Jordan? Sinners. With any of those shows or movies, vampires have to be invited in, right? Here's the reason it says, and I know it's a folklore, but here's some symbolic things with this. Symbolism of consent and boundaries. The requirement represents the violation of personal space and the necessity of consent. It is a metaphor for temptation and the voluntary welcoming of danger. Another one is stemming from Eastern Europe tales. This constraint reflects the idea that the home is a sacred place, that spirits or by extension, vampires cannot enter without permission. The last one is in many stories, it says vampires are governed by specific rules of nature that require them to obey boundaries. I'm bringing this up because Queen Eve's going to dive into some things. I know she is. But I want you all to think as we're diving into this conversation, what we are allowing into our lives. And we're not talking about scary looking monsters. We're talking about the very people and the very mindset, the very imbalance that is sucking the life out of you. A lot of these things are things that we have invited in. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say hello to my queen sister, Crystal Thomas. And we're going to let Queen Edith dive into this conversation however she wants to. But I just want you all to remember that as we're speaking, the things and the people that you allow into your life and the dangers that we put ourselves in when we don't have boundaries. Queen.
Queen, you just brought us in.
I'm sorry.
Powerful analogy. No, don't be sorry. But it is true. Okay. So, based on everything we've talked about, we started with foundations and we went on about core values. And we want to come to you today and talking about values and boundaries, protecting what you are building, protecting what you are building. And I call it compassion without self betrayal. Compassion without self betrayal. Okay. And Queen has brought in a great analogy. Okay. She talked about the vampire series. I've never watched it. And the lessons that you allow. You see, the key word is allow. What you will allow into your space. Okay, so after foundations, after core beliefs, okay, and the inner, talking about the inner narrative, we move from the inside work, okay, inside work to the lived out work, okay, because once your beliefs change, your values will shift. Am I right? And once your values shift, your boundaries must change. Okay, boundaries are not walls. Let me say it again. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. Okay, they are gates that protect what is sacred. And that's what Queen is saying. What are you allowing in your space? And whatever it is it sapping all of your energy? So much so that you're so tired, you don't feel like doing anything more, or is it energizing you? She comes from the perspective of those vampires, which is amazing. Blood sucking. Could also be that this blood sucking energies are coming from here, your mindset, your thought processes. Could it be inside of you? Then the inside work needs to continue. So on this, we're going to dive deep into values, which are the compass. They are the inner compass. Your values are the inner compass. They tell you what deserves your time, your energy, your yes, and your no. So before I let Queen come in, I'm going to ask these questions. And I'm hoping and praying that some of you answer some of them, some of it on the platform. Question number one. What do I value more than I did 5 years ago? What do I value now than I did 5 years ago? What drains me that I used to tolerate? What's draining me of my energies that I used to tolerate? What aligns with my healed self and not my survival self? I'm going to pose these questions. I'm going to see if I can get these questions. I'm going to post these questions here. Let me see.
I just did the first one, Queen. What was the second one? Read the second one to me.
What drains me that I used to tolerate? What drains me that I used to tolerate?
Okay.
And then the next one is what aligns with my healed self
I
and
like
not my
that.
and not my survival self. What aligns with my healed self and not my survival self. So your values reveal who you are, who you were, who you are becoming, and not who you used to be. Your values reveal who you are becoming and not who you used to be. All right. So would like to see your responses to these questions. Queen, I'll let you take over.
Those are good questions. I really hope that people is in the comment section. Of course, take your time to think. We can continue to speak. And if you come up with something, please let us know in the comment section.
We can discuss the first one. What do I
Mhm.
value now more than I did 5 years ago?
You know, for me, it is my time and my peace. And I think for me, it might be in the, I don't know. I think peace is so important. And if we really think about peace, it's not just happiness. I feel that happiness um is an emotion. It's
Mm.
not a it's not a it's not who you are. When you have peace, you have stability. It's consistent. It's your lifestyle. It's who you are. Where happiness comes and goes, depression comes and goes. Peace is such a big deal. I think if we focus more on how to obtain peace over happiness, I think we guide ourselves differently. And this where this conversation is coming from about boundaries. What in my life is preventing me to finding peace, because I can find happiness in just knowing that I'm dealing with you now so that I can just be cool later. That's not peace. That whole mindset, it lacks balance. So I think for me, it's been peace. And then realizing that in that peace, it does require time with self, time for growth, time for empowerment. So that's what's going on in my thought process. What do you think, Queen? I'm looking in
What
the
do I
comments.
think about what you said? I mean,
As far as your answer.
peace is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Peace is really huge. If you don't have peace, then there's chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where there's no peace, then there's some kind of chaos going on
Mm-hmm.
within you. And what it does is that once again, chaos saps, it steals time away
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from what you intend to do or to be. Okay, so protecting your peace is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
So then brings me to the next question. What are the things that are draining you of this peace that you've had to, or you used to tolerate for whatever reason? What are the things that drains you that you used to tolerate? Okay. And when it comes to me, what do I value more than I did 5 years ago? In the past, it's interesting that this question, I believe that it seems like life ended for me in 2021. Okay. 2021, one of the biggest fears in my life happened in 2021. At the same time, it almost was like a T junction where greatness began without me realizing it. Okay. So for me, in the past 5 years, I have come to value my environment. My environment, everything within my environment means a lot to me, because I will not allow anything that will distract me from my purpose. Okay, nothing. I'm not going to allow anything to distract me from my purpose. I feel like I came into the knowledge of who I am in 2021 and 2022. So that junction of my life has taught me to focus. So anything that will come into my life and remove me from my focus, I totally don't value. I value my purpose. I value Edith and what she was called to be. Now that I know who I am, I value that strongly, and I will not let anything come into my life to derail me or to distract me. So whether it's you coming to steal my peace, you coming to steal my time, you coming to steal my personality, you coming to no, no. So yeah, I value Edith. I don't know how else to put it. I value Edith and everything she was called to do. Me.
I love it.
Yeah, I
Great
value
answer.
Edith. Yep. Yep.
Great
I've come
answer.
to
Yes. I love it. Anybody in the
yeah.
comment section? And I apologize, you all, if I keep going off camera. I've got someone here fixing my car. My alternator, my starter went out, and it's cold outside, you all. So I'm grateful that I've got that taken care of. So my apologies if I'm off camera.
We're glad it's done. But Queen, you see, I think we begin to value life the moment we learn who we are and value us. You value you as a person. It defines everything, including your boundaries.
It does.
Okay. You and I have known each other. I think you came into my life somewhere into. No, I wouldn't. I've known you since 2020, from a working point of
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
At where we used to work, you worked there. I had a private client there. And that's where I encountered you. Okay. And I will never forget the first encounter that parking lot. I think it was the parking lot. We are just parked, we were both parked, we were walking, and you walked so fast and you walked right past me. And you looked at me and you said, "Good morning, Queen." And I'm like, okay, nobody has greeted me like that. And that was a defining moment. That made me look at you in a way that I had probably never looked at you. It gave me respect for you. As much as you greeted me the way you did and made me look at myself, it gave me respect for you. And then I started watching you calling everybody Queen. Well, some people Queen. I can't say you called everybody Queen. I watched you call some people Queen, and
Yes.
I looked at it. But then again, you came into close proximity somewhere 2020. Towards the end of 2022, early 2023. I think.
Yeah.
We work together. We have a purpose, we have an assignment, and we focus on it. We do things here and there every now and then, but our focus has not shifted. Our focus has not shifted.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the thing. Once you learn to know your values or your purpose, okay. There was a time that I valued having friends around me all the time because I kind of, it fed my ego or something, but absolutely not.
I know that's right.
Absolutely not this time.
Yeah.
I have a vision. So I am very narrow minded. Everything that will become a distraction. So the question is, what do you value more now than you did 5 years ago? Okay. What do you value more? And how is that helping your journey? How is that helping you pursue and push your journey and your purpose? Okay. It's so important. Okay.
And Queen Kathy B did answer with that question: real relationships with others. As far as that
the key word, yes.
real, yes.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And
And
she
you
answered,
know, the relationships become real when you know what you're looking for. Okay, when you know what you're looking for, because what happens is that you tend to go with the flow with everybody when you are not sure where you are going, but you are strategic in your relationship building the moment you know what you're called to do. Okay, what you're called to be. My journey, my journey is a quiet journey. Okay, my other greatest value, which is number one, is my relationship with my God. Okay, in my relationship with God, this one, this one. Okay, so that's also very, very, very greetings, Queen AC. Welcome. It's good to see you again. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so what do I value more than I did 5 years ago? Why? What changed? Okay, Queen, what drains me that I used to
What
tolerate?
drains me that I used to. Mhm.
I just breathed or sighed or that question. Queen, you want to go?
I don't know. Disrespect for starters. Let me think on that one. Poor time management again. One. There we go. Queen Kathy said being used by others. That's from that disrespect. Yeah, I think. Let me put this back up here. Hang on. I
You
think.
see, that statement there, being used by others, is a deep statement, and we can break it down. Lack of communication. We agree we are going to meet here, or we agree you're going to call me, or we agree we're going to do this at this time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't show up, you don't call, you don't text, you don't communicate in any form. Oh, I'm sitting here waiting for you to call, to text, to say something so I know we're doing this or we are not.
Mm-hmm.
It's so disrespectful of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is huge. Lack of communication, not communicating appropriately when it's needed,
Mm-hmm.
is disrespect. You know, it's serious disrespect and dishonor. Okay. I think for me it's drama. I don't want drama.
Yeah.
I really don't
Yeah.
want anything to do with drama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one thing that also drains me a lot too much is when you talk too much about your personal stuff going on. You keep
Mm-hmm.
talking and sharing. After a while, you get tired. You talking get tired of it. It drains you because you've
Yeah.
talked about this thing so many times. And the
Mm-hmm.
question is, why are you talking about this so much? Because you're not even getting what you really need. It
Mm-hmm.
drains me. I guess I can't do drama. I can do drama. And as I've grown and matured, I've learned that if there's something bothering me and I'm talking about it, I should about it with the right person at the right time. And for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
my therapist. For me, it's my therapist. Yeah, yeah.
I love
I
it.
don't do drama.
And you
I
know
don't do
what?
drama.
On that question too is unhealthy relationships. That is something that, and I know we're talking about we talked about disrespect, but unhealthy relationships that can be from anybody that you're not intertwined with on a deeper level, and that you've got your work colleagues, you've got your manager, just different things, school, but when we talk about unhealthy relationships, these are people, again, talking about the vampire thing, people that we invite into our lives. And for a lot of us, it's difficult for us to remove ourselves from those relationships. And it's interesting how that happens, because a lot of times when we're in unhealthy relationships and we know that, a lot of times the other person, I won't say a lot of times, because sometimes communication is key and we can't assume somebody knows something. But when you know you're in an unhealthy relationship, a lot of times we like to stay in that because it's more familiar than breaking away from those relationships. where that other person probably don't even care, but you've locked yourself into something that's not conducive for you. I think a lot of times we focus on other people's feelings and their responses, and their emotions to us cutting ties, and it leaves us bound in these situations. And although the distance might be there, we're not talking as much, we're not engaging as much, there's still a relationship that causes chaos even in the thought of that individual, because those things are unresolved. So I think unhealthy relationships are something that I have tolerated, but it is just looking at it now, and it doesn't mean that people are bad people. Things just aren't conducive anymore when there's no healing and there's no growth and there's no movement. And it doesn't have to be side by side. Queen Edith and I have been together. It doesn't seem like this 5-6 years, but okay, we'll go with that. It seems like much longer, just out of fellowship and friendship, but we move differently. We grow differently. We're both growing up, but it's different paths, but it's still in line. So having those relationships does not mean that you have to be in sync with someone else's visions and purposes and mission, but you do have to be in sync with respect, love, and honor in those relationships. So just keep that in mind when we're dealing with people.
You said something that I really want to touch on a little bit more. You said we get into unhealthy relationships and we know it, and yet we do nothing about it. We stay there because to us it's a relationship. Anything is better than nothing kind of scenario, and that speaks volumes about what's going on inside of you. That speaks volumes about what you value, what is important to you. Because if you're going to have to deal with this, that's draining you of the very blood that is allowing you to live. You're willing to let something or someone suck your blood, and you become weak and sick laying in that bed because you're drained of blood. Then there is a problem, and you know who is sucking the blood, and you're okay with it just to have someone there. That is unhealed. That is something wrong inside of you, and that's where we need to go back and look at what is in your foundation. What are your core values? What are the codes by which you live? Because there's something wrong. We all need to be in relationship that not at least not take away our energy. Okay, Queen and I'll say this: Queen and I have been together doing stuff. I've never distracted her from her purpose.
No.
She has encouraged me for as long as I have known. Without her, even this will not go on. And yet we are all walking in our purpose. Parallel, we come together, we lift each other up, we do what we are supposed to do. We continue to walk our journey. I do respect her home, her boundaries, and everything I respect that. And the opposite, opposite is also true. So if a relationship is not building you up, why are you staying there? And this is where the inner value, the work that has been done inside, is lived out. So if you are valuing such a relationship, there's inner work that needs to be done. What is in your foundation? I would like to talk to you. We would like to talk to you. What is in your foundation? What are your core values? What inner codes are you living by? Because those are determined, those are being left out right now, being in an unhealthy area. And everything we talked about, drama, not feeling used, all of that come into one thing: unhealthy relationships.
And like you said before with your first answer, Queen, it all comes down to self-value. It all comes back to self. Everything.
Mm.
All these answers that are going to be given, everything we're thinking about, it all comes back to self. And it's so quick. People are so quick to use their tongue and not really understand the words that they're saying. If Queen Ib says, I don't want to do it, well, now it's selfish. But we won't say that self is. I don't want to be selfish, but I do want to be self is. Self is okay. Self is well balanced. Self is at peace. And a lot of times we forfeit who self is because we don't want to appear selfish to the very people that will take from you before they bless you. So think about that when we're making decisions on how we interact with people. Sometimes we do things, sometimes unintentionally. We realize, you know what, that wasn't the right way to do things. That wasn't the right way to treat Queen Edith, to respond to Queen Edith. And you correct that. There is no need to be in a relationship where you can't tell someone, I choose me first, and you feel like there's a problem. And a simple no will do just fine if we allow that. And I'm the type of person that'll say, Queen Ambassador, well, let me see, because I don't know about this. I don't know. Because we don't want to say no. I want to say yes to myself, but I can't say no to Queen Edith. Oh, I'll see. Well, give me a second. Let me think. And now we're ducking and dodging people in situations that are not unresolved because you're ducking and dodging people. So with these relationships, the communication's key. Saying to someone, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what it is, and being okay with that for you is so vital. So vital in healthy relationships. So
Before I posted some things I haven't, but before we go, we're going to tackle the next. You already put it there. What aligns with my healed self and not my survival self? What aligns with my healed self and not my survival self?
now, Queen, before people start to answer that, and go ahead if you like, everyone in the comment section. I want you to explain from a therapist's point of view why that question is so important, and helping people to identify with being healed and whole versus being in survival mode, if you can, if you will, if you want.
How do I explain this? You see, to be healed and whole is to be okay with you. It doesn't mean there is no room for growth. It's to be healed and whole requires that you are self-aware. You are aware of yourself. You know what your values are. You know what your boundaries are. You know you've laid a good foundation for yourself, and you are okay with having those boundaries without the need to please others all the time. Okay, so let's say for example, I am working here building Peak Home Care. Okay, home care is a very difficult business. I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very difficult because of the nature of the work we do. So, constantly, all the time, you're in communication with clients. You're dealing with your employees. My employees are also my clients. I value them because they are face to face with the client. So I take care of them. I make sure that I'm doing what is needed. So they will go to the client satisfied. Okay. So the team with whom I work, and there's so much chaos going on. And Queen G is saying, oh, Edith, there's a party going on tonight. Don't work. Let's go. And I say to a Queen, I get it. But at this time of my life, I need to focus here. Well, and Queen is you're constantly working. You don't take it for, like, let's just say she's complaining about it. I'm like, this is a phase in my life, and this is what I need to do. She's not happy. You're a killjoy, blah blah blah, and she goes. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not going to the party. I'm okay to lose Queen G if that is all she thinks about and she's not considering me and respecting that I can do this today in this time of my life. I can't. If it's a birthday party, I give the birthday person, I can visit them, I can give them a gift, I can spend time with them, I let them know I value them, but this time it's not right. That is someone who is healed and confident and okay with being themselves, irrespective of who they lose, who will walk away as a result because you cannot respect my boundary. That's very key. An unhealed person, someone who's consistently um, 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 in chaos, is a people pleaser because they don't have anything inside of them that makes them feel like they are somebody. They are important. They are pulled in all directions and they can't say no. They struggle to say no. And that is not the person you want to be. To be healed and whole, you are okay with you. You value self enough to know when to say no, to say know when to say yes, and stand by it, to stay within boundaries, to have compassion without betraying yourself, without sabotaging yourself. Know when, what, why, and how at any given time. Know all of it for you. That's my opinion.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And Queen Kathy says, saying no to this question, saying no in 2026, accomplishing my goals for 2026. I'm already making accomplishments this month. High five to you, Queen. High five. High five. I'm healing my heart.
Day by day.
Yep. There was something else she said. I want to share that I'm proud of. Also, cutting out distractions. My goal 5 years ago, land. Now I can't stop buying land. I can't stop talking about Queen Kathy B. She is so inspiring. I want a bunch of land, and she gets it done. So with that, again, the question: what are you aligning with? You know, what aligns with your healed self and not your survival self?
And you see, when you talk alignment, you talk about when you talk about alignment, it goes back to what are you aligning to, like your questioning, but how do I know I'm in alignment even when I don't know where I'm going? I don't really have a well clearly defined purpose and agenda for my life, whether it's for the day, whether it's for the week, whether it's for the month, whatever it is. This day, today, this is my purpose. This is what I'm striving toward. How, if I don't have that, how do I know I'm in alignment? We used to say something: if you stand for nothing, okay, you fall for everything. So today, what are your plans for the day? What are your top three, top two, top one, top four, top five? That must be done. And how do you stay in alignment? You're muted.
I'm sorry, you all. I'm so sorry. I'm multitasking. I told you I'm getting my car fixed, so I'm so sorry. So sorry. So we're talking about alignments, okay? Please like and share. Yeah, I'm so sorry. This is an interesting show today. When we're talking about alignment, think about your car. And a lot of us, like I said, I'm getting my car fixed right now, so I'm in and out. But a lot of us don't pay attention to the maintenance in our cars, right? We have the check engine light on for 2 years, just weird stuff. But with an alignment with your car, you know, it's not just it's shaking, it's affecting other parts of your car. It's breaking down the vehicle as a whole, little by little, and it just seems like shaking and moving and unsteadiness, right? But you're tearing down this vehicle. When we're not aligned, we're tearing down this vehicle, this vessel, when we're from the inside out, when we're not aligned with things. We have to make provisions and we have to speak it as though it's so. That is such a big thing. Let me go back. I'm gonna put the question back up. It's such a big thing to speak it as if it is so. I think that helps for me with alignment, and just being real with where I am. I've been in survival mode for a long time, been there, done that. And it's not fun. And you don't realize you're in that mode because a lot of us just go, go, go. We think that because I'm supposed to serve, we think that being busy is being productive. And that's not always the case, and that's that survival mode. I'm used to hustle and bustle. I'm used to always going, going, going. I'm used to, no rest for the weary.
Weary.
We have to take we have to take a break and figure out what suits us. And I think that survival mode is so important for us because it's so comfortable. Again, it's familiar. All these negative behaviors and mindsets are habitual programmed behaviors. They're learned behaviors, and a lot of these behaviors we taught ourselves. So can we teach ourselves to heal simply by saying yes to me? Like I said before, yes, this car needs an alignment. Not because you didn't get this alignment. Now you're in financial struggle because something else has gone wrong. We are in spiritual and mental struggle because we're not aligning ourselves correctly with our purpose and our calling.
It's interesting you talked about the one part affecting all the others. Okay, you talk about one part. This part it begins with that little headache
Mm-hmm.
or that little eye pain or that, and we do nothing about it. So I feel like we've become a population, a people who are more reactionary than proactive. Reactive. We are more reactive. Yes, I miss Bree too. We are more reactive than proactive. And that is where survival is there. That is where survival
Mm-hmm.
is happening. We are reacting to circumstances. We are not being proactive. We don't have a plan. So, what is there to align with? And I wrote here this that your values reveal who you are becoming and who you used, not who you used to be. And some of the most matured values, I put that out there: peace over chaos, alignment over approval. You see, when you choose peace over chaos, it doesn't matter who is causing the chaos. You have to learn to walk away. That's a whole person right there.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to walk away from the things that
Mm-hmm.
are not serving you. If your presence is
Mm-hmm.
not making a difference, if you're showing up and you're trying to calm the situation and it's not working, because people in that chaotic cycle love it more than you think they do, but they do. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
walking away, they do. It keeps them going. That's what feeds them. But that's not what feeds you. It drains
Mm-hmm.
you. So when you choose peace, when you choose alignment over approval, all this chaos is not helping. This one says that, and this one did that, and that. And it's not like they're talking about it to get a solution, but they're talking about it just to talk about it. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not in alignment with your purpose.
Yeah.
Walk. Okay. Depth over performance. Oh, we like to perform, we like to show off. But at the end of the day, there's no depth to us. We don't take the time to learn who we are, learn what we're doing, learn our craft, and become better and greater at it. We just show up and do that 5 minutes, whatever, skit, and walk away feeling good. So you're feeding an ego rather than really growing, maturing, developing, and becoming better. And if you continue to feed you, eventually somebody becomes better than you. What you become is bitter and envious and jealous, and you start talking about the person. You did nothing. You just showed up and performed the skit. Okay? Integrity over image. Living out who we really are. Living out who we really are and not faking it. Who are you? Oh, I came to Queen G and I pretend I'm all this and walk away quietly. Inside of me, I'm cringing anyway. I'm cringing. I feel like nothing. Integrity. What you do in the privacy, in the darkness of your home, in the secret of your home. If you can't do it publicly, then there's a problem right there. They don't align. Once again, there's fake. Rest over burnout. Queen just said it. Keeping busy doesn't mean you're productive. Sometimes rest is so important. In this day of go, 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 go. If you are not going, you are scrolling. Constant something, activity that is not even helpful. You can manage your time well, which is Queen touched on it. Okay? And then truth. How easy are you able to accept the truth? Because some truths are not pleasant. But would you choose truth over comfort? Because the truth may not feel good, but it will help you grow, help you heal, help you take a second look, and third look, critical look of self or of whatever the situation is. Okay, so it's so important that going forward, it's so important that we look at these things and ask ourselves, where do I fall in these? Am I maturing? Or am I throwing tantrums just because I don't want the reality? Okay. All right. Queen.
Good talk.
I love you.
I mean, we can go so far in this. I think I love you, Queen. I do. And I love your wisdom. These are things that I think we keep talking about this, but I think at the core, I think aligning with self is taking time with self, like Queen said, just in that quiet, and journaling is so important. That's why we tell you guys, we encourage everyone to take notes, write down, write these things down, because when you start doing that and having a journal and keeping up with what's going on in your life, it's an accountability record, if that makes any sense. This journey is we meet once a week together here, and we're so grateful for the time that you all spend with us. We're so grateful to be able to spend time with you all. But there has to be purpose behind what we do, and so we want for us to be in alignment, to find growth, and it does require commitment to self. It's not a scary thing. It's just unfamiliar. It's not a bad thing. It's just different. Growth is different. Growth is change, and it's inevitable. It's always going to happen around you. It's always going to happen. Have you ever seen, with nature, things live and they die, they hibernate, they come out. There's a process, and I think humans are the only species that doesn't get that process. You always have to grow and keep moving, and it happens in nature. Change happens in nature all the time, and it includes us. So don't buck up against the inevitable. Understand it. Don't just go with the flow, but understand what's going on in your life. Understand the journey that you're on. Write down that roadmap to your life. What road are you on? Are you on Woodruff Avenue, Could have lane, should have. Where are you?
And
Get
how
the
long are you
roadmap to your
supposed
life.
to be on that road?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When it says, when you go to the mall or whatever, it says you are here, wherever here is, but here's where you are. And here's where everything else is. Here is where you are. Where are you going? Where are you going?
I'm thinking of integrity, and I'm thinking that, I don't know why I'm going back to this, but you make goals for the year, right? We plan our year.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm hoping that some of us plan out our year by the end of 2026. At least I should have blah 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 blah, and then somewhere along the line, okay, we abandon ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because it got difficult. And you talk about, seasons and things dying and living. And in order for you and I sometimes to get to certain levels, a part of something
Mm-hmm.
must die. The self-pleasing must die. The need to fit in must die. The ability to walk away from people who devalue you must die. Some things must die so that the real you will emerge. The two can go
Mm-hmm.
together. You can be the chaotic self, or that self that is unproductive, is unfruitful, and seeking to fit in, and whilst at the same time be the person that is trying to emerge. One will suffocate the other. So which part of you must live? The Edith, I promise you, the Edith you knew 3 months ago is not the Edith sitting here. That I can tell you. I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you confidently. Okay. The fear to speak truth. The fear to speak truth to a certain situation because everybody is quiet. You understand? We pacify, and the system remains the same. The system is not changing, and in the background, everybody is complaining. Yet nobody is able to confront the situation with, there's a tactically confront the situation. That itself is a problem because you don't want to be the one to stand out and say the truth, but the truth will heal. The truth will challenges the system. So when you can't be true to self and you are abandoning self just to please everybody, there is a question of who you are. Okay, because I have
Mm-hmm.
gotten to a point where I'm not afraid to walk away from anything and anybody. I am not. Once
Mm-hmm.
a situation comes, you talk about it, and I realize that, listen, you are stuck right where you are. And I realize that I can't help you. You can't help me. I can
Mm-hmm.
serve you. You can't serve me. I still love you. But this
Mm-hmm.
is protected. So boundaries are so important because that is how your values are protected. Okay, boundaries are how
Mm-hmm.
values become visible in real life. Okay, not carrying what is yours, emotional boundaries, not rescuing, fixing, or absorbing others' emotions. Okay, allowing yourself to feel without the guilt. Feel like whatever it is I'm feeling, feel it, and don't be guilty about it. Because why? I'm
Mm-hmm.
so sorry I am Edith. No, I am not. How you show up in the room
Mm-hmm.
matters. Okay, when you show up in
Mm-hmm.
the room, what do you bring with you? That's the troublemaker. Or what?
Mm-hmm.
What do you bring with you? Are you able to be your
Mm-hmm.
unique self without feeling the need to fit in? I mean, it took me over 50 years to
Yeah.
get here. But I wish I knew the things that I know now then. Okay, then
Mm-hmm.
probably I'll be far. I'll be far. But then again, I am where I am at this point in my life, and I'm thankful that I got here. The question is this: you have this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much knowledge, and we are all absorbing knowledge. But how are we applying this? And that is wisdom. Okay. Compassion does not require self-abandonment. That's why I said in the beginning, who has access to you? Who gets your vulnerability? And who influences your decisions? These are questions we need to ask ourselves every day.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone deserves the same level of access. I promise you, I probably am vulnerable to 2 or 3 people in my entire life. No more than 3. No more. I choose not to be. Queen is let me spiritual boundaries, guarding your inner life,
Go ahead.
protecting.
Go ahead.
No, you were gone. I want to talk about protecting, guarding your inner life, protecting prayer, rest, silence, alignment, your time in the word, having boundaries, discernment over just being exposed all the time, consistently using discernment, especially now in your relationships. Queen, I'll stop talking.
No, you said a mouthful. You said a whole lot of wisdom you've shared with us. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Um, I don't know. I think we got to stop here. I know our hour's almost up, and we can keep going because, like I said, it's so deep, and there are so many tools and resources to get us to where we need to be individually and collectively, right? So,
Right.
no, I'll let you take us out by all means.
This is what I'm going to say to us
Good.
all. You cannot pour from a depleted soul and call it service. You cannot pour from a depleted soul and call it service. If you're going to make a difference in your own life, in your marriage, in the lives of your children, you must take time for self. You must value self, okay? There are relationships, there are roles, there are expectations, and patterns that belonged to you as a survivor. But as you mature, some things don't belong again. Don't be over functioning and know it all, do it all, be it all to all people. It doesn't work. Consistently over explaining yourself for who and for what. Over giving, over tolerating, over sacrificing peace for connection. Growth requires pruning. Some part of you must die. In 2026, what part must die and what part must you feed? The part that dies is the part you refuse to feed, you refuse to nurture, whilst you give the energy to the part that needs to emerge, to grow, and to become fruitful for your tomorrow. We have been intentional about our topics this January, and next week we're going to finalize it. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you, we appreciate you. This 1 hour is valuable time, and you must value your time. And that's why we are grateful that you are here with us. And we are sharing things that we believe will help change your life. So the questions we've asked, and I'll continue to post some of my notes on the platform, answer them for yourself. Answer them for yourself. Are you surviving or you are maturing? And what shows that you are actually growing? Which part of you must you stop feeding in 2026? And finally, our book for the book club this month, starting February 1. Our book, Queen, what is the title of our book? Oh, she's busy. Atomic Habits. It is so important for the journey ahead. It is so important for the change you want to see. It is so important for the you visualize when you close your eyes. Get that book, Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. Get that book. Let's read it together and let's become all that we were created to be. and you will be pleased with the finished product of the you that you are becoming. Life is not, you are becoming, every day you are becoming. Please become the best version of yourself every day. We love you. I appreciate you. This is Speak Wellness Hour. My name is Edith, and with me has been Queen G. We thank you. God bless you. Have an amazing week.
Blessings.